My beloved child. Tonight is not a normal moment, and this message is not reaching you by accident. Something that has been quietly hidden behind your name is beginning to tremble, and the silence around it is cracking. There is a presence that has been breathing through your identity, walking through spaces meant for you, and making decisions that echo back into your life. You may have felt it as unexplained delays, strange reactions from people who swear they already know you, or doors that closed without a clear reason. This is not imagination. This is the first signal that a truth long buried has started to surface, and once it rises, it will never go back to sleep. Stay here, because what unfolds next connects directly to you, and to a name that has been carrying more weight than you were ever told. Listen carefully now. For a long time, someone has been moving in shadows created by your existence, using the safety of your identity like a borrowed shelter. Not to destroy it in one loud moment, but to slowly live inside it, step by step, unnoticed. This person learned how your name opens trust, how it passes without question, how it creates familiarity. They studied the way your identity is accepted, and they mirrored it so well that even systems designed to detect difference failed to react. You may wonder how this could happen without you knowing. The answer is simple and terrifying at the same time. It was designed to stay invisible. And invisibility works best when the real owner of the name is distracted by life, by responsibilities, by hope, by routine. Here is the part that tightens the chest. This hidden life under your name was not built overnight. It started with something small, almost meaningless. A record. A trace. A single point of access that looked harmless. Then it expanded quietly, like roots growing under a house, unseen but spreading. Each step taken by this person made the next step easier, smoother, more natural. And every time your name was used, it became harder for the world to tell where you ended and where this other presence began. You might have felt moments of confusion, like when reality did not align with your efforts, or when consequences arrived without clear causes. Those moments were signals. Signals you were never taught to recognize. Now feel this carefully. The exposure is not coming from outside. It is coming from pressure within the system itself. When two lives try to occupy one name, tension builds. Patterns start to clash. Records stop matching. People begin to notice inconsistencies they cannot explain. That is why things around you may feel unstable lately, like the ground shifting slightly under familiar steps. It is not punishment. It is not bad fortune. It is the beginning of separation. And separation always starts with discomfort before it brings clarity. The one living under your name senses this too, and that is why movements are becoming rushed, mistakes more frequent, and silence heavier. Do not look away now. The reason this revelation matters is because what happens next will redefine how your name exists in the world. Exposure does not arrive like a sudden explosion. It arrives like a slow dawn, revealing shapes that were always there but hidden by darkness. As this truth moves closer to light, you will be faced with moments that demand attention, awareness, and calm strength. This is not about fear. This is about readiness. Because once the hidden life is seen, it cannot continue pretending. And when that happens, your name will finally begin to return to you, piece by piece, with answers that change how you understand your past and how you step into what comes next. The silence you feel right now is not empty. It is loaded. Something has shifted behind the scenes, and the world around your name has started to hesitate. Systems hesitate before they reveal truth. People hesitate before they ask questions they were never meant to ask. And identities hesitate when they are about to split into what is real and what was borrowed. This is the stage where confusion grows stronger, not weaker. You may notice subtle changes. Delayed responses. Strange confirmations. Repeated verifications that were never required before. These are not obstacles. These are cracks. And through these cracks, the hidden life begins to lose balance. There is something deeply unsettling about realizing that your name has been speaking in rooms you never entered. Decisions have been made that you never approved. Paths have been taken that do not match your values, yet they return to you like reflections. This is because a name is not just a label. It is a key. And when someone else holds that key, even briefly, they leave fingerprints everywhere. The exposure begins when those fingerprints stop matching your own. That is when patterns collide. That is when reality starts questioning itself. And that is when the truth begins pressing forward, regardless of who is ready. Understand this clearly. The one living under your name is not calm anymore. They feel the pressure tightening. They sense that the world is starting to notice overlaps that should not exist. That is why their actions may become hurried, inconsistent, or desperate. When a hidden identity senses discovery, it tries to secure its position or escape silently. Both create noise. And noise attracts attention. This is the phase where even small errors carry massive weight. A wrong detail. A delayed response. A mismatched explanation. Each one pushes the truth closer to daylight. Here is the part that reaches deeper. You were never powerless in this situation. Even without knowing, your presence has been creating resistance. Your authentic choices, your natural patterns, your way of being, they do not perfectly align with the one imitating you. That difference is crucial. It creates friction. And friction creates heat. Heat exposes what cannot survive in open air. This is why recent events may feel emotionally heavy or mentally exhausting. It is not because you are weakening. It is because something false is struggling to exist beside something real. Stay with this moment. Exposure does not end with discovery. It transforms everything that follows. Once the truth steps forward, your name will no longer be shared in silence. Boundaries will form. Lines will be drawn. And clarity will begin replacing confusion. This is the turning point where your story starts reclaiming itself. What was hidden will no longer control outcomes. What was borrowed will no longer decide consequences. And what was unclear will finally make sense. What comes next will feel intense, but it will also feel clean. Because when truth takes its place, nothing false can stand beside it for long. What unfolds now is not loud, but it is irreversible. The world does not announce exposure with sirens. It reveals it through alignment. Things start falling into place in ways that feel unsettling at first. People begin asking questions that cut closer than before. Records start correcting themselves without permission. Situations that once felt frozen suddenly move forward, but not in the direction you expected. This is because truth has momentum. Once it starts moving, it pulls everything into order, even if that order feels uncomfortable in the beginning. Your name is no longer drifting. It is being pulled back toward its rightful center. There is a quiet moment before every revelation where reality pauses. You may feel that pause now. A strange calm mixed with anticipation. This is where awareness sharpens. You begin noticing details you once ignored. Repeated names. Familiar phrases spoken by strangers. Reactions that feel delayed or misplaced. These are not coincidences. They are echoes of overlap. When two identities collide under one name, echoes form. And echoes always lead back to the source. The closer the truth comes, the clearer those echoes become, until ignoring them is no longer possible. Here is what few understand. Exposure does not always hurt the one hiding the most. It often reshapes the one who was unknowingly carrying the weight. You may start questioning past struggles that never had clear reasons. Missed opportunities. Misunderstandings. Situations where you were judged before you spoke. These moments were not random. They were side effects. And realizing this does not weaken you. It strengthens you. Because clarity removes self-doubt. And once self-doubt leaves, strength fills the space it occupied. The one living under your name feels this shift like the ground disappearing beneath their feet. Their confidence was built on remaining unseen. And now visibility is unavoidable. They cannot fully control how your name moves anymore. Their influence fades each time truth aligns another detail. This is why resistance increases just before collapse. Attempts to hold on become more obvious. Movements become careless. Silence becomes suspicious. And every attempt to stay hidden only sharpens the contrast between what is real and what never truly belonged. Do not rush this moment. Revelation has its own timing, and it is precise. What is coming is not chaos. It is correction. Your name is being untangled from a story it never agreed to carry. And as this untangling continues, you will feel lighter, clearer, and more present in your own life. The confusion that once surrounded you will start dissolving, replaced by understanding that feels almost shocking in its simplicity. This is not the end of something. This is the return of what was always yours, finally stepping back into the light. What happens next is the moment most people never see coming. Truth does not just reveal what was hidden. It rearranges reality around it. You may notice sudden clarity where there was fog for years. Conversations start making sense in hindsight. Events that once felt unfair now reveal their cause. This is the stage where your name begins to feel different when spoken, lighter yet stronger, as if it is finally standing on its own foundation. The world adjusts quietly when truth takes its place, and that adjustment is already happening around you. There is a subtle shift inside you as well. A realization that what you carried was never fully yours to bear. This awareness does not bring anger first. It brings calm. A deep, steady calm that tells you something false is losing its grip. When identity returns to its rightful owner, confidence rebuilds naturally. You stop second-guessing your instincts. You stop apologizing for outcomes you never controlled. This inner alignment is powerful, because it changes how others respond to you without a single word being spoken. Meanwhile, the one who lived under your name can no longer move freely. Every step now feels watched, not by people, but by truth itself. When truth surrounds a false presence, it becomes impossible to blend in. Even silence becomes loud. Even stillness becomes noticeable. This is why things may appear to slow down suddenly, as if time itself is pressing pause. That pause exists to separate what belongs from what never did. And separation always favors what is real. Pay attention to how your surroundings respond. Opportunities that once slipped away may begin circling back. Trust that felt broken may quietly repair itself. Not through explanation, but through alignment. This is not coincidence. This is correction in motion. When your name stands alone again, it starts attracting what matches it, not what exploited it. This is how balance returns, not dramatically, but undeniably. Stay grounded now. The final layers of exposure are close, and they do not require effort from you. They require presence. Your role is not to chase answers, but to remain aware as they arrive. Because once the last illusion falls away, your name will no longer echo confusion. It will echo clarity. And that clarity will guide what comes next with a certainty you have not felt in a very long time. This is the moment where everything becomes unmistakable. The tension you sensed without proof now finds its shape, and the invisible line between you and what was hidden finally appears. You may feel a strange mix of relief and intensity, because clarity often arrives carrying both. What once felt like scattered pieces suddenly forms a pattern, and that pattern points back to one undeniable truth. Your name was never lost. It was occupied. And now, that occupation is ending. Notice how resistance no longer comes from you. It comes from the collapse of what never belonged. Situations that once drained your energy now resolve themselves without struggle. Explanations you chased for years no longer matter, because understanding has replaced the need to justify. This is how release feels. Quiet. Certain. Final. The weight you adapted to carrying dissolves, and in its place stands something steady. Ownership. Of your choices. Of your outcomes. Of your identity. The exposure reaches its peak not through confrontation, but through alignment. Everything that used to feel misdirected begins correcting itself. Paths adjust. Reactions soften. Outcomes finally match effort. This is how you know the truth has completed its work. When reality no longer contradicts you. When your presence feels recognized without introduction. When your name no longer triggers confusion, but clarity wherever it goes. What matters now is what you carry forward. Not the confusion of the past, but the strength earned by surviving it. You were shaped by pressure you did not understand at the time, and that shaping gave you depth others cannot imitate. That depth is what remains when everything false falls away. It is quiet power. And quiet power lasts. Hold this awareness as you move ahead. What was hidden is gone. What was borrowed has been returned. And what was yours has finally settled back into place. From this point on, your name moves with intention, not interference. And that changes everything that follows. There is a stillness that arrives only after truth has finished its work. You are standing inside that stillness now, even if you cannot fully name it yet. It feels unfamiliar, because for a long time your life moved against invisible resistance. Now that resistance has dissolved. What remains is clarity that does not shout, but settles deep. You may notice how your thoughts feel more aligned, how decisions come easier, how doubt no longer speaks as loudly as it once did. This is not coincidence. This is the natural state of an identity that is no longer divided. Look back carefully, without pain, without blame. The confusion, the delays, the unexplained reactions from the world, they were never signs of your failure. They were symptoms of interference. And now that interference has ended. That realization changes how you see yourself. You were not weak. You were navigating complexity you were never warned about. And surviving that has given you a sharp awareness that cannot be taught. Only lived. What is powerful about this moment is that no announcement is required. You do not need to prove anything. Reality already knows. When alignment returns, recognition follows quietly. People respond differently. Opportunities meet you halfway. Outcomes reflect intention instead of distortion. This is how truth stabilizes a life. Not through drama, but through consistency. And consistency builds trust that lasts. The one who lived under your name no longer has space to exist there. Not because of force, but because truth leaves no room for imitation. Your presence fills the space fully now. There is nothing left to hide behind. Nothing left to borrow. What remains is separation that is complete and final. And with that separation comes freedom that feels calm, not overwhelming. Carry this forward with awareness. Your name now moves cleanly through the world. Each step reflects you, and only you. The past no longer leaks into the present. The future no longer feels blocked by unseen hands. This is the quiet conclusion that changes everything. Not because something dramatic happened, but because something false finally ended, and something real was allowed to stand on its own. What remains now is the truth standing alone, without disguise, without interruption, without shadow. This is the phase where reality stops correcting itself and begins flowing naturally. You may sense a quiet confidence settling into your daily life, not forced, not loud, just present. Things respond to you the way they should have all along. Effort meets outcome. Intention meets recognition. And your name moves forward without resistance, as if the path was always meant to open this way. There is a powerful realization that comes with this ending. Nothing external needs to change for everything to be different. The shift has already occurred. The weight that once bent your direction is gone, and now your choices land where they are meant to. You may find yourself reflecting less on the past, not because it vanished, but because it no longer controls the present. Understanding has replaced confusion, and understanding is permanent. This is where your identity fully settles back into place. Not as something you must protect constantly, but as something that naturally holds its ground. When a name is finally clear, it carries authority without effort. People sense it. Situations adjust to it. Life responds to it. This is not dominance. This is alignment. And alignment creates stability that cannot be shaken easily. You might notice that even challenges feel different now. They no longer feel personal or unfair. They feel navigable. Solvable. Meant to be faced, not feared. That is how you know you are no longer fighting unseen forces. You are meeting life directly, without distortion, without interference, without confusion bleeding into consequence. Let this be the closing truth you carry forward. What was hidden has ended. What was shared without permission has separated. And what belongs to you stands fully restored. From this moment onward, your name tells only one story. Yours. And that clarity will guide every step ahead with a quiet certainty that does not need validation to be real. Now comes the phase few ever speak about, the aftereffect of truth. When exposure is complete, life does not rush forward. It steadies itself. You may feel time slow down slightly, not in events, but in perception. Moments feel clearer. Choices feel deliberate. You are no longer reacting. You are responding. This is the sign that control has quietly returned to its rightful place. Nothing is pulling your name in different directions anymore. There is a calm authority in knowing that nothing hidden remains attached to you. That calm changes how you walk into spaces, even digital ones, even silent ones. Your presence feels anchored. You do not need to explain yourself. You do not need to overthink how you are seen. The world adjusts around authenticity naturally. And authenticity has finally reclaimed your name fully, without resistance. What surprises most people is how light this stage feels. You expected confrontation, chaos, or dramatic closure. Instead, you receive peace. A peace that confirms something important. What never belonged to you has no power to leave a scar once it is gone. The damage you feared was never permanent. It was situational. And situations end. Identity does not. Your awareness now becomes your quiet advantage. You see patterns earlier. You sense misalignment faster. Not with suspicion, but with clarity. This is not about guarding yourself from the world. It is about understanding it better. You move forward informed, not fearful. Grounded, not guarded. This is maturity born from experience you did not choose, but mastered.